Good evening, everyone. We're glad you're here. Kick back and relax to another episode of Two Average Joes with your host from Lake Havasu, Arizona, Tony P., and from Long Beach, California, Joe Kelly. We hope the next hour will enlighten you, educate you, and maybe even give you a moment of reflection. So without further ado, Two Average Joes. Did you know? I bet you didn't know that it takes about 700 grapes to make one bottle of wine. I didn't know. I figured we're foodies, something else. And this is one that blew my mind from a kid's standpoint because I don't touch this stuff with a 10-foot pole now, but all Fruit Loops are the same flavor. That broke my heart. Despite their bright, distinct colors, every single Fruit Loop in your bowl tastes exactly the same. What is with that? You give me a color, I want it like Lifesavers. I want orange, I want grape, I want, cherry. Oh, give me a break. So that's the two things that burst my bubble.
I think we deserve a little, refund.
Well, that's my wife and I talked about that, and that's why we both liked Apple Jacks. One thing, very consistent, always good.
I'm a fan of Apple Jack. I mean, I don't eat cereal anymore, but yeah, as a kid, Apple fan. Actually, it was a big treat because we were pretty tight, with the budget. So there wasn't the fancy, there was no Count Chocula in the house. You know what I mean? Wheaties, Chex was probably the best one, and I like Chex. The corn Chex.
Hey, well, see, the thing is that in my house we had 4 kids, and there was always fighting over something, and my parents weren't going to have it. So it's like, you pick a cereal, it's yours. Nobody touches it. It's all yours. So my kid sister, my kid brother, they were into the Count Chocula and all that crap. And me, I was like, I'm going for bulk. I want a big old box of Wheaties, or I want corn Chex or rice Chex, or I didn't like wheat Chex so much, a little bit too firm for me. But rice Chex and corn Chex I could eat all day long.
All day, right.
So those are the ones that I got, and I'd come home from wrestling practice, eat like 4 bowls of cereal, and then have dinner after that. So yeah.
Right. Well, they're even a great dry snack. I mean, you can't go. In fact, if you crushed them, you'd probably have a great breading.
I think it was when I discovered marijuana that I started to enjoy the flavored cereals a little bit more. It's like hanging out with my roommates.
A good thing it wasn't Captain Crunch, because you'd have been eating so much you'd have been pretty raw. Remember the old Captain Crunch?
That and Quisp and Quake. They had these 2 ones when we were a kid. Quisp and Quake were like Captain Crunch. Quake was Quake was like little saucers. Quisp, and then Quake was like little boulders. And so they're really, really good stuff. But it's the same kind of flavoring, the same thing. But the flavors were real back then. I mean, I was looking at this couple things that, what we ate an Oreo when you and I were a kid, and what's in an Oreo now. It's just ridiculous.
They were like, it's changed like completely, right? Like a completely different ingredient.
Yeah. Like, especially like imagine the best one to think about is like a chocolate bar. You look at a Hershey's chocolate bar, it's not really that much chocolate anymore. There's probably as much chocolate there is, that they call something like it's got to have 10% of it in there to be called that thing, coffee, Kona coffee, make 10%, Kona, and 99% Arabica beans. It's kind of the same thing. It's just not the same as when we were kids. It was pure everything. Now it's just adulterated, and a lot of that high fructose corn syrup, which I won't touch. If it's got that, then I won't have it at all. I've lost my favorite things with that.
Do you think it's completely due to wanting to have more profit margin as a company? Is it trying to keep up with supply and demand? It can't be any faster to use cheaper ingredients, but I would imagine they're more readily available, and it probably costs a lot. I mean, it's like,
well, I think that they want to make more money, and I think that the average person is pretty stupid about their taste. You and I, not that we have more refined taste, but we spend our time in the restaurant business where people said, taste this. What does that taste? What can you taste in this? So you and I are used to kind of maybe finding out which flavors are in things, that kind of stuff. Even when I used to drink wine and say, do I taste the vanilla, or do I taste the oak flavors or stuff?
But now I read the ingredient all the time. Now I have to look, because it's like I got thrown back. We talked before about how I found out about the whole no nitrate thing, and still haven't determined whether the natural nitrate is better or the same as what's in regular, the regular curing process. But the other one is the kielbasa. I always liked kielbasa, right? It was easy to cook up. It tasted great on the grill. And I don't know, one day I just turned it around and look at the ingredients, right? And the fructose, the corn syrup, like number 3, number 2, or number 3. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then I checked all of them.
It's like that with everything. Yeah.
I haven't had it since.
Well, there's certain, like, I know it sounds cheesy, but I like Jimmy Dean's sausage. It's got crap in it, but it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup. There's certain
Right.
things I don't really want to take the time to make the sausage myself because that's the only way I'm going to be able to
Well,
make it good.
well, I have to check. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a kielbasa or a smoked sausage. The big link. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the thing that I would think would be the best to do with that is to find a private butcher who makes them themselves and go there.
Right.
That's probably the only way to do that. Now, are they going to skip the nitrates? Maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
Uncured, maybe you can find something like that. But I make some consolations here and there. I think I'm pretty happy with my diet right now. I'm pretty good with that. A mainly meat thing.
Well, it's like I tell people, it's not like I eat perfect. Not even close. You know what I mean? It's like being Christian and being Christian, right? So I eat bad things, but I think it's semi-balanced because of the numerous things that I intentionally eat or don't eat. So it's a balance game. So it's not like I'm all fucking health nut. But I do try to avoid shit. I'll cheat and have it once in a while, but then I'm like, I pay for it. You're right. I feel it in my
Yeah,
knuckles, my knees. I feel the
yeah.
arthritis in my back when I eat wheat, anything with wheat that comes from this country.
Yeah, that's true. I've made some exceptions here and there because I'm a hamburger fanatic. I love hamburgers. In fact, I just bought again from Omaha Steaks. They have this hamburger package that has, I think I'm getting like 32 hamburgers for $119, which is like $3.75 a burger, which to me is
Right.
that's fine. And it's brisket and there's 100% brisket or 100% filet mignon or
Yeah.
ribeye.
You could be out selling them on your sidewalk for 10
It's
bucks a piece.
it's like it's amazing stuff, but it's like that's the kind of thing. It's like, what? I might sometimes I told, like last night I said, I'm going to take a couple pieces of your sourdough bread. I want to have it, and I got some Kerrygold butter, and
Yeah.
I found this little trick. You take
Did you
the
do a patty melt?
yeah, I did, and
Ah,
but I even went so much as I took a cheese grater, a fine cheese grater, and first I toasted the bread just a little bit first. So I
man.
took the butter and I grated on top of the bread, and it melted into the bread all
Oh,
perfectly. And then
this
so
is like sex talk.
it was wonderful. And then I took some Vidalia onions, some good Southern Vidalia
Right,
onions,
right, right. Are
and I
those the sweet ones or no?
very sweet, yeah. And
Right.
I chopped those up and I grilled those in the burger
Oh,
grease.
shit.
And then I took that and I just let everything sit. And I put
Did
took the
you
oh, it's wonderful.
This one's always up. So did you use Swiss cheese or
No, actually, I used Kerrygold Private Reserve extra sharp cheddar. Holy, it's like
uh
dust on the block of cheese when you're
yeah.
eating. It's like it was wonderful, man.
And did you go spread or no spread? Did you do it like a Thousand Islandish or did you do a mustard or no? Just the grease from the fucking onions, the
That's it.
burger patty, and the
That's it.
cheese.
And a little bit of Tony Chachere's for seasoning, just a little bit of Cajun
Right.
seasoning to it. But yeah, that was it. And then I'll either have like last night I had a glass of milk, just a glass of organic whole milk. I like that stuff. And or I'll make a protein shake. I'll take some bananas and take and either use half and half or something like that. With my diet, the things I'm eating aren't like eating like donuts. If you eat
Right.
donuts, I would get fat galore, big time. But me, it's like I had a couple sandwiches today, nothing too elaborate, and I've got
Right.
some Tillamook chocolate ice cream in the fridge. I might have a bowl of it after we get done with our podcast. And those kinds of things, it's sugar that goes and sits straight into your liver, but I use it up during my fast, so it's gone. It's like it's not there. So I'm really happy with what I've learned and when to eat and what you can eat, and then you can enjoy yourself. Like those Tony's chocolate bars, I can eat a whole 6-ounce bar. That's one of those big bars in a whole sitting, and it barely affects my weight whatsoever. I just love it. It's wonderful.
I'm gonna have a 1 pound ribeye and then eat probably 6 to 8 summer rolls, which is a Vietnamese version of like an egg roll. But to balance it, I'm gonna have some cucumber and I'm gonna have a dish that she makes. I don't even know what the Vietnamese name is for it, but they have a melon. And the only way I can describe it is it looks like a very large zucchini that's all bumpy on the outside. So that long zucchini cucumber shaped, bit wider, and it's called bitter melon because it is sort of bitter. Like the first time I ate it, I was like, "What?" You know what I mean? But then it grows on you, And anything that tastes that bad, is so fucking good for you.
Right, right.
You're right. So it's
Yeah,
medicine.
exactly.
And then she stuffs it with a ground pork mixture, and then it's boiled, and so you have it in this broth with a little bit of rice and that melon, and that's how I'm going to balance it. But yeah, I ate a lot. I ate a lot more than you, I think, judging by our conversations. But I have been thinking about patty melt for the last 3 weeks. It was bizarre when you started describing it because I'm like, man, I really want to make a patty melt, and I don't know if Tweez had a patty melt, right?
Right.
So I'm like, and so I was debating no sauce, right? No Thousand
Well,
Island.
sometimes, and instead of the butter, I'll use mayonnaise and on the outside of it, and so it cooks up. There's a little bit of flavor with that, but
Right.
if you're using, I mean, the burgers I use, like the one I had was a 100% piece of brisket that was ground up, and
Right.
you've got a burger made out of brisket. You don't really need much. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
no,
got
but
some filet burgers that I have. There's like 8 filet burgers I'm getting.
right.
And I told Sue, I said, those are the ones you get the real blue cheese and you cut it, put that on top of the burger
Yeah.
because you get it. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, if I decide to go fire up the grill outside with a little smoke on there, holy smokes, is it wonderful? It's just
Well, I'm definitely going to try that. So I was going to ask you something, and let's take a look and see what we got going. Perfect. Our favorite.
small talk.
Sometimes it is. Share a story about a time that you took a big risk out on a limb.
The first time I started working for Black Angus, I took a big risk because I'd had done a 2-day binge. I hadn't even slept in 2 days, and I was finishing up a shift as a waiter over at the faculty club in Berkeley, California, taking care of the faculty members. And I was like, okay, I can barely do anything, but I wanted to get a job there because the money was really good at that Black Angus. And my friend calls me up just as I'm laying down in my bed. He goes, hey, if you can get down here in the next 45 minutes, I can get you a job here. They need somebody right now. And I told him you were the man. I'm like, and I
I
had to
need
think
someone
about it.
right now.
And it's like, I don't feel like going down there. And I was like, okay. And I hung the phone up and I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter if I go down or not. But then I thought about it and I realized, all that I learned from working for Black Angus, and not just as an employee, but as a manager. And all started with
Right.
just, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just lose some sleep, maybe
Right.
wake up a little bit more before I started that last shift.
Right.
But
Right. Well,
that
you need
was,
to be alert when you're driving.
yeah, exactly. That's important to do. You got to think about
Right.
those other drivers. So that
Yeah, a
was
lot of
so.
crazy people out there at night.
So what about you? What's the biggest chance was a chance you took on something?
Hands down, I was let go by the Elephant Bar. They had a new regime. The original owner owned Seven, sold off to an investment company. That's always the kiss of death. They brought
Yeah.
in all new people, and then one by one, they were just getting rid of either the very expensive or the old regime. They were just starting from. It was just me, district managers, vice president, all the way down the line. People were flying, and I was so pissed because I'd done such a great job for them. I opened the one by you in Lakewood.
Yeah. I saw you there, remember?
One of the busiest, yeah, 135,000 the first week, and back then in
That's the good numbers.
the 90s, that was some
Yeah.
dollars. So anyway, I was driving home that day, and I'm like, I don't care if I have to go to Home Depot and buy a lawnmower and go around and cut grass. I am never, ever, ever fucking working for someone else again. Period. That was 2003. So then I took about 6 months and found a place in Redlands to open a deli, a partner. And I used that 6 months. I mean, I lost everything. I lost my car. I couldn't make the payments, lost my car. I could barely survive. Put this deli together. By the time I opened the doors, I had literally $12 to my name, $12. And thank God it was a success immediately. And it did me very well. And it was also a springboard to multiple concepts that I put together after that. So it was really not just the success I had to get caught up and be, human again. And then, what it provided me for many years after that with other opportunities, the knowledge and the menu and all that.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, here's one. Which one of your birthdays do you remember anticipating with the greatest amount of enthusiasm?
Birthdays.
Birthdays.
Well, you know what? I'd have to say, and maybe it's because of memory ability. I'd have to say that my 60th, which was fantastic. Twee and my family had thrown a party for me, and we just had a great time. Had Mediterranean food, sang karaoke, and it was with your family and stuff. So to me, that was probably it. 21 wasn't a big deal for us back then, because 20 you were already doing that shit at 16 and 17, right? So you weren't really crossing over any big deal at 21. It really wasn't. So I would say that was probably it, going through 60. And I would say, if I even had to anticipate the next one, probably 75. I think 75 is a pretty big, you make that hurdle, after 75, crapshoot time, right? Especially after 78. 78 is the national average currently, though it keeps going up. It's still 78. So anybody over 78, they're really, in the narrow part of the field.
See, my problem when I was 21 to me was the most memorable for me. And it was because as a young person, even 16, 17, when I moved down on my own in 17, all my roommates were in their 20s. And I hung out with all these older people. I mean, they did everything. I mean, some of the craziest things, going to Mabuhay Gardens, which is a punk rock club on Broadway in San Francisco, and using a fake ID, on my hand to get in there, and all the craziness that happened. But to me, when I turned 21, I was working at Black Angus, and one friend gave me, a little vial of blow. Another one gave me some weed. Another one gave me a bottle of Dom Perignon champagne. And my girlfriend and I took a bus. We took a party bus up to Tahoe from the Bay Area. So I went to like Harvey's Casino, which I had to because I'm Joe Kelly Harvey. And I also went to Harris. So I spent a lot of time in the casino thing, and it was a big deal to finally be able to be accepted in that. What now? I can't hear you. You've blacked out.
Were you living in Northern Cal then?
Yeah, I was living in Walnut Creek. I was working at the Pleasant Hill Black
Angus. So that's a pretty decent drive. How long to Tahoe from there?
Yeah, 3 hours maybe, but in a bus. I didn't care. We were high and having a good time, and I was with my girlfriend, so I really didn't care.
It's a party bus, man. Yeah, by the time you get there, you're so wasted.
Yeah, it was some of the best times I'd ever remembered. But to me, it was freeing because the only times I've been able to go out, and honestly, without getting messed with, was on Halloween, because I had a common theme. I was an old man, so I used actually glue on hair on my face so they couldn't pull it off to see what I looked like. And I went to the Salvation Army and bought a suit for like $10 and had the whole thing. And so I go partying with all my friends at these bars to show them some ID didn't matter. They're like, well, okay, whatever, because they're not going to take off the hair off my face. But it was nice to be able to actually go in and and not be messed with because I was old enough. Now I didn't look like I was. I mean, I couldn't shave until I was 32 years old. I could, so I didn't have to shave.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I had a baby face. I had the put milk on my face, let the cat lick it off. That's how I shaved for the first in my 20s. But so that was so I mean. I get carded. People are like, yeah, right. I'm like, dude, this is really my card, So they didn't believe me. I still got to drink, but it was. I had to wait. That was 21 was probably the most memorable for me for that.
I think I was shaving at like 14.
That's when you started drinking?
No, that was 14.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about shaving. No, I think the partying was probably 14, 15. Yeah, in fact, I remember, which this is not uncommon. I remember the first time that I smoked marijuana with a buddy of mine. I think we were like 14, and we lived on a lake, so we're just sitting on the dock at the end of by the water, and we smoked this joint, and we're just sitting there, and then finally a little while later we go home, but I never really. I didn't feel anything the first time. In fact, I don't think I felt anything the first 2 or 3 times I smoked marijuana. And for some reason, they say with some people that's not uncommon for them to feel. And it's like, how can you not, right? How does your body decide what gets through that gate? Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever heard that? Some people the first time they don't, and then.
Well, I mean, I was probably. I don't think I was. I might have been 11 because I was in 5th grade, and my older. We adopted these kids, and they were like hoodlums, and so they were smoking pot with us. And we had a dinner bell. I mean, we're very Southern. It's like on a side porch going into the kitchen, ding, ding, ding. If you didn't hear the bell, then you probably got wings and feet for dinner because all the good chicken's gone. So we're out in the field.
That's back when wings were like the shit part of the chicken.
Oh,
right?
Nobody
now you can't even find them.
$20 for a bunch of them now. It's nothing. It was the dog's like, no thanks, I'm good. But we're out there, and it was the first time I'd ever, because I'd smoked it a little bit the first time, but just a hit and more coughing. And I was feeling really ugly and dizzy because of the coughing. But the second time that I smoked it, Tim Gober, we're sitting out there, and he's sharing this joint with me. And all of a sudden, I'm like, whoa. And all of a sudden, I heard this ding, ding, ding. I'm like, it's the dinner bell. And so it was just like one of these slow motion running home. It was just like, yes, most wonderful feeling I ever had. It was like, fried chicken and black-eyed peas and cornbread and biscuits. It was
It
like,
was like a love scene on the beach. You were just like,
it's like your appetite's very enthusiastic this morning, this afternoon. No, no kidding. So
like
that was the,
licking,
yeah,
you're
but
licking the plate.
exactly. Okay, all right. What was your favorite thing to pretend when you were a young child?
I would have to say I really like Batman, so playing, being Batman.
Did you watch the original one, the original Batman?
Probably not the original because I've seen now that there was some prior, but I certainly watched the Adam West Batman.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Adam West and
Yeah, and more impressive than even that is a lot of the stars he had on, they were big names at that time.
yeah,
Vincent Price, Shelley Winters. I mean, I can't even go Cesar Romero. Some of these were very serious actors,
yeah, no kidding.
and and then Frank Gorshin,
The Riddler.
Burgess Meredith, right?
There you go. The Joker. No
I mean,
kidding.
these were classic
I mean,
actors,
Penguin.
and
Excuse me.
man, they they brought those characters to life.
Yeah, it was
I'm
enjoyable.
a sucker for that show. I know it's campy or whatever the word is, but it's definitely classic 60s, 70s.
Well, what's interesting is that when it comes to comics, I loved Batman, loved Batman, I loved Superman, but it's the way that it was depicted in the comic books is the way I enjoy comics because it's more dark.
Right.
It's more like on a musical scale, it's D minor and it's not, happy go la la la, it's not these, major tunes. It's da 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 da. And so I really like
Right.
that darkness, that kind of stuff. I had a passion because when I was in 1969, I was 8 years old and I was sitting on a carpet watching them land on the moon. And so that was, I just was totally fascinated with that. I would get models and build them. I started learning about it and the different Gemini and the Apollo and the, Mercury, all the different aspects of it. And I started learning as much as I could. And I started looking at the moon. In fact, my wife asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And I said, I want to start looking at the moon again. I miss, moon gazing. And I would look at properties on the moon, different aspects, and find things and find wherever they landed. I could find all their landing spots and stuff like that. So that was kind of fascinating to me. So I
So
always
with
wanted to
a
be an astronaut.
telescope, that's what you're beginning, right? Like a
Hmm.
telescope.
Yeah.
If the moon was, let's say it was a crest moon, whatever that is, the first stage or whatever. With the telescope, you're probably still able to see the circumference of the moon, like the whole circle.
Yeah, kind
It's
of.
just darker, right? But you can see an outline or no?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Depends on where the sun is in respective. In fact, you look at your best shots of the moon when it's just a little off, when you've got shadows that are coming across the mountains and stuff. That's when you can see scale and stuff. You can see it a lot better. If you're looking directly at it, it's hard to see the detail. But what I'm getting is I want a celestron. I don't want to go. I can get a tracking telescope, but I don't want anything like that. I don't need to
Well,
track
now
planets and stuff
not
like
just the
that.
moon, but like it's like every other month I read about how these planets are lining up, and then I don't know, about 6 months ago or so, all the planets lined up for the first time in whatever thousands of years, who knows? But it's like crazy that because you'd be able to see all that super clear with the telescope, I would
Yeah.
imagine, right?
Well, it depends on like right, not today, but if I were thinking about the last time I saw a bunch of things together, I remember seeing Jupiter and Mars and let me see, also Saturn, and there was maybe even one more planet that you could see in the sky. And I've got an app on my
I was glad you didn't come up with how you saw my anus because I wasn't going to share that story.
We had a lot to drink that night, and we won't tell people about that. We thought, hey, what happens in the liquor room stays in the liquor room. I thought we agreed on that,
Right,
huh?
yeah, right. If you could communicate with one animal, if you could choose one animal to communicate with, which would you choose and why would you choose that animal?
It would be a dolphin, without a doubt. Because dolphins are said to be as intelligent as people. I don't really know the veracity of any of those statements, but I mean, I've seen some pretty crazy things, and I really enjoy the book 2001: Space Odyssey. And when they did the movies, they did, I think it was 2061 or 2031. The next in one of the series, they used Roy Scheider as the star of this movie, and they involved. I'm drawing a mind blank here. What we just talking about here? I'm sorry, dude.
The animal you talked to, the
Oh,
dolphin. You chose
oh
a
yeah.
dolphin.
Well, they actually these dolphins they taught him to communicate, so they could actually talk to him and had a language worked out. Because
Right.
if I mean, I voted a long time ago. I wrote a paper in college against going in space anymore. Just send machines. We don't need to go. I mean, there's no necessary. We're just people get hurt up there. We can't deal with the radiation. We can't deal with the lack of gravity. So, but we've got this entire ocean we know nothing about. We never go down and look at it, and it's deeper than the Empire State Building is tall. I mean,
They
it's
just found
crazy.
a purple octopus the other day.
All these crazy things, and like
I mean, dude, and it was like crazy purple, like fluorescent.
well, the extremophiles, I studied that a little bit because when Chernobyl happened, they've still got all that radioactive goop everywhere in Chernobyl. But there's insects doing the
You think that's
backstroke.
it?
They're doing backstrokes in the liquid that's not going to go away. It's got a half-life of like 1,000 years. It's not going
Really?
anywhere. It's not breaking
Really?
down. Yeah, people don't understand. You screw with radioactivity. There's no coming back for that. But it's like they're found that creatures can live in extreme conditions. Like they've gone to the Arctic floor and they found plumes coming from like volcanoes, and there are creatures living thousands of feet down below with they can't see anything and they're living in this darkness.
So it's been a couple years, so I don't know if there's been advancement, but even if there has, it wouldn't be enough to change the gravity of the percentage. I had read that we as humans are aware of, at this time, it was about, they said 10 to 12% of what's in the ocean, livable animals, because we can't go far deep enough.
Right.
Only 10%, even if it's tripled to 30%. Imagine how much is still down there. We have no idea.
No, we don't. I mean, there's if you've ever been down in LA, whoever's listening to us, Catalina is not too far off it's like an hour boat ride from Long Beach Harbor. And what's interesting about Catalina is that if you look at a geographical map of the ocean, there's all these deep river like gorges coming from deep out in the middle of nowhere, out deep ocean. These big crevices are come up, and a lot of them end right there at Catalina. And they've had some of the most huge great white sharks just show up there because these guys
Really?
are cruising out in the sea. They're going down these rivers, and all of a sudden they're in. Oh, where am I? And it's like so you go in there and you see these like 6 foot span mouths on these things. So it's crazy what's in there. I mean, it really is. And so I would think that a dolphin, if I could communicate with a dolphin, I could say, hey, all right, dude, let's go check out this. I need to know about this. It's like, even it's like, hey, there's some treasure down there somewhere. Take a look and see if you can find anything.
As a kid, were you a fan of Flipper?
I loved Flipper. I loved it.
Right.
I loved it. It was a great show. Wonderful.
Right. Well, Lassie, but could swim.
Exactly. Now, Lassie. I watched Mr. Ed. I was into all those animals. I loved them all.
Mr. Ed was the best. I mean, he was classically, as far as comedy and the whole, when he put the glasses on and dialed the phone.
But once again, it wasn't until I graduated from high school, hung out with a bunch of stoners, that's when like that and MASH and Leave It to Beaver all meant something very special to me. That was some great stuff right there.
Hey,
okay,
hey, Walt, weren't you a little? Hey, what was his father's name? Walter.
Wally was the older brother.
Right.
Hugh Beaumont was his real name.
Oh, you're right. Very good.
Hugh Beaumont. Yeah.
So. I think it was Walt or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And Judith, but great show.
Ward.
Yeah, that's
Ward and June.
That's June, right?
It's like
June
Ward
would always tell him every time at dinner, like, "Hey, Ward, you were a little hard on the beaver last night." And I'm like, you know what? I watched the show before. I didn't see him yell at the kid at all. What's she talking about?
Exactly. Okay, here's one for you. If you could know one fact about every person.
Hold on, you cut out.
Am I still there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you've been here the whole time.
I can't hear you. You cut out. I have you up all the way.
You're here with me.
Huh. Want to sign back on?
Yeah, we're gonna pause. Take this pause just a moment. We'll be right back. So let's go back to the question: was if you could know one fact about every person you meet, what particular fact would you want it to be? Assume that the other person would not have to be aware that you knew that fact about them at all, and I'd rather not know it. So what would you want to know about every person you meet that you could keep privy to yourself without them knowing that you know?
I think that if I could, even if there's a scale to determine this, it would be character. So I want to know who's a stand-up person.
See, I was thinking
Because if someone has
integrity too.
character, right? So if someone has
Yeah.
character, it encompasses so many things. That's the kind of person you can have a handshake deal with.
Yep.
Someone who doesn't have character, you got to have everything fucking down on paper
Exactly. Exactly.
and notarized. So that's the difference. And if you could just cut through that bullshit and know immediately, then you would know how to best handle that particular individual or situation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. It's a tough one, but it's like at the same time, I would want to know if I'm wasting my time. I mean, like there was I remember Tim Burns got pissed at me one time because I had an interview with a woman who had to set up babysitting everything. She came to interview, and she was actually picture perfect. Everything was wonderful, but I knew she had a current job and she was still working. And I told her I wanted her immediately. She said, "I'll start tomorrow." I said, "What about your other job?" "I don't care about that job." And I said, "Really?" And she told me, she's like, "I'm tired of it. I don't want to do that." And so I said, "You know what? I'm probably against my better judgment, but I'm not going to hire you." And she got
Right.
pissed and she called Burns. And Burns came down and wanted to read me the riot act. And I said, "Dude, Thanksgiving Day comes." She decides, "I'm not going to show. I don't need to." And we're down one person on a Thanksgiving rush or a Friday night or Saturday night. I don't need that kind of mayhem. I don't need people.
No.
If that's well, she had integrity. She told you the truth. She told me she was a shitty employee. That's what she told me. I'm not going to hire somebody that gets
no argument at all. In fact, I used to tell people that would be like, I'm like, availability or starting, and they'd say they're working for someone else, but I can get out of that or whatever. And I told everybody, anyone that I did an interview with that I was considering hiring, I'm going to call and check, and if I find out you didn't give and complete a 2-week notice, then I'm not employing you.
Right. Well, it makes sense.
Now that said, if you give the 2-week notice and they like just cut the strings, because a lot of people do that.
Right. Right.
Especially if you're a bartender or something, right? Because they know you're just going to steal the fuck away for 2 weeks.
Short timers.
But that's different. I said, now if they cut you loose, I go, you give me a call, we'll get you training right away.
Amen.
I said, but if you flake on them, we don't have a deal.
Yep. I agree with you.
We're talking about food so much. I feel like I'm enjoying a buffet. Let's keep it rolling.
Okay.
What is your go-to comfort food? And you're from the South, so it's like, shit, you got a dilemma. You've got great California food. You've got Southern roots.
So now, wait, are we talking any category, or do you want to do savory or
any
sweet?
Category, comfort food. Like if you said to yourself, okay, let's put it this way. I know you eat pretty healthy, right?
Yeah.
Well, comfort food obviously is comfort food. It's not nutrition food. It's not, I'm trying to live better food. So if you were just going to be like, fuck it, I am going to go off the rails and make my favorite thing that I know is horrible for me, but I just love it so much. What is it? What's your comfort food? It's just, that's not even that bad for you. That's not even that bad.
Tony's chocolate. This whole bar is my comfort food. Just sitting here and not chewing it, but breaking off a small piece and letting it melt underneath my tongue and just dripping over my palate and just engulfing me in chocolatey wonderfulness. This is my comfort.
So it wouldn't be like biscuits and gravy or chicken fried steak or
the thing is
that are horrible foods that are shitty for you, but so great.
I'd have to be in the South to get chicken fried steak because I can make chicken fried steak better than anybody on the West Coast because I'm from the South. It's got, it's comfort food, but I don't want to have to cook the damn thing. I mean, honestly, if you talk about amazing comfort food, a 3-day pork butt smoked with applewood smoke until the bone just pulls out and it's got the smoky flavor, and then either make tacos with that, just maybe some corn tortillas and some cabbage, and that'd be wonderful. But it's like there's so many things that I like for comfort, but it's like if I want something to relax, I like a good cup of coffee and I like chocolate, and it's got to be good chocolate. So these are the things that I enjoy the most. So how about you? What's your comfort food?
I'd have to say it's obviously things I would normally not eat. Number one on the list, country fried steak, biscuits and gravy. I love that. But I'm like, okay, so I'm taking chicken, I'm breading it, I'm frying it in oil, and then I'm having biscuits and gravy and more gravy on top of the chicken, which is basically, hi, I'm wet flour. Oh, hi, I'm dry flour. Let's get together and make some shit.
But let's stop you right there at the beginning and say, no, we're not going to do chicken. Let's do cube steak. Let's do it right.
So now, do you still use the same white gravy though, or no?
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Okay, so it's still country gravy even on the beef.
Well, because you have the biscuits right next to it.
I never see that in my store, and you told me to tell the guy to go pound it out. And I did, and he went into the walk-in. He didn't come back out for 10 minutes. I don't know what the fuck was going on.
Well,
But I did see it in the store the other day. They had it right there, all wrapped up, ready to go. I'm like, hello,
yeah.
cube steak.
They
Haven't
did,
seen you in 20
they've
years.
got a tenderizer, all those needles, and that you just give it to and say, "Hey, I don't want some cube steak. You've got something that's not fresh. If you could fresh it for me, I'd appreciate it." And they'll take it and they'll just do it right there at that point.
Dude,
So,
growing up, that's what we knew steak as. We never had like very, very, very rarely. In fact, I'm just saying very rarely to give it in case it happened. I don't ever remember eating steak as a young kid growing up. It was the cube steak. Must be a cheaper cut, obviously, right?
well, yeah, but it was, I mean, I ate a lot of, I mean, my dad was big on, say SOS, shit on a shingle, because he was in the
Oh, my
Navy.
mom
So
was too.
we ate that all the time. So there was a lot of like, tuna casserole, all that kind of stuff that we
Okay,
did,
so now there you go. That's a
We-
comfort food. Shit
Oh,
on a
and
shingle. Like
oh,
if you
well,
if you knew it wasn't so bad for you, you'd eat it, right?
I ate it all the time. Even when I graduated on my own, it's like shit. This is inexpensive. I'm getting that stuff. Or I would take corned beef hash, press it into an 8x8 pan, and
Right.
make little four indentations and crack an egg in there, and have four helpings of
Oh
hash with egg.
shit, that
Do that
sounds
too.
fantastic.
That was wonderful too.
I don't know if you know this because I don't. What is the cream sauce in this chick beef that makes the shit on the shingle? Is it still just flour and water? Is it still basically country gravy without the grease or
Yeah,
the
it's
bacon or the sausage flavor?
just make a roux is what I would do. I just made a simple roux. That's what, and
Just a
just
white sauce, yeah.
yeah, that was it.
The meat gave it the salt and the flavor.
Right, right. And then when you have the stuff that Schilling's shaved meat is so salted, it's got so much
Yeah,
sodium in there. You don't need to put any more seasoning in there, except
no.
for some ground pepper. I like fresh ground pepper on just about everything. So,
Gotta have right. You gotta have the pepper right. And that helps balance out the salt.
oh, by the way, just on a note on food, pita pataki.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, it's funny because
Located on Cherry Avenue
Cherry Avenue,
in lovely Long Beach, California. Peter
right
Pataki
across
is
the
always fun.
street from Fantastic Cafe, which is owned by Greeks also. So
No kidding.
well, the Fantastic is whole Fantastic Cafe, Fantastic Burgers was a Greek family that came and started dropping things in. That's why I learned Yasu and all those Greek terms. It's from a guy
Right.
from Redondo Beach, right over there behind the Strand. I lived right over there off of PCH, right behind an apartment, and I'd have breakfast there all the time. Yasu, tekales kala. He was all great big old Greek guy. But yeah, so I haven't been into Pita Pataki yet, but I saw where it is. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I have to tell Tony it's right across the street. I'm like, another Greek
So
place.
on topic, if you want to watch something funny, I'm sure you'll find it on YouTube along with, you know, your two average shows. It's a Saturday Night Live skit, I believe, but it's three Greek guys out barbecuing. I think they're cooking a lamb. I think the lamb's on the spit or whatever. And it's just, it's so fucking funny because they got the gold chains and they got a comb over that's 50 times worse than mine. It looks like it's patches of hair glued on, and they're all bolsterous. And look it up.
I
It is
will.
so funny.
It's I love. I get a lot of the funniest stuff I see on YouTube. Those little shorts and such.
What do you got for me?
Okay, what is something you really enjoy doing that's a chore or a bore for many people?
Yeah, cooking dinner.
See, that's the thing. It's like I knew we have the same mindset. If I have the time,
Yeah,
I'd rather make
I
an all
want
day.
to.
Let me cook all day long, and that includes cleaning at the same time because I clean as I go. I'm not leaving all this crap to the end. But
And I've been single before, and a lot of times you like, especially older people, they're like, "Oh, it's so hard to cook for two people or whatever." And I'm like, I cooked for myself. I never had a fucking problem. Jesus Christ! I
well,
mean,
when
just
I was
cut the portion in half. Figure it out. It's just math.
when I worked in the restaurant business, I usually had two or three waitresses roommates. So we played Chopped before that show ever came about. There's 5 items in the fridge. You have to make dinner with those 5 items. There's noodles also, so you got noodles to work with. But that was the
Right.
thing. It's like, what can you make something that's edible out of what we found in the fridge? So that was the thing we did. It was a lot of fun.
No, I think it would be. Okay, I got one last one for you, pal.
Okay.
Wow, I went right to it, and I'm almost sad. That one's tough too. I don't know which one to give you, buddy. These are all fantastic. You have to pick 1 through 5.
Let's go 4.
Number 4, what is your stance on the decriminalization of drugs? And just to preface the question, drugs is such a broad term, right? I mean, so we have to now figure it accounts everything, right down to the worst, right?
Right.
So take it from there.
Well, there's obviously some things that should not be legal. You should not have access to them. I don't think it's a smart idea. I mean, a lot of people are microdosing these days, and it's like, I mean, I've had a lot of people say, "Come on, microdose with me. It's great." I'm like, dude, I did my mushrooms and acid when I was in my teens and 20s. I don't need to hallucinate anymore. It's not exactly a fun thing to do, but you'll learn so much about yourself. I'm happy with what I know about myself right now. I don't
Yeah,
need to learn
yeah.
anymore. I feel good. This knowledge base
You're
is
like,
good.
dude, I'm in my 60s. I pretty much figured out what's going on up here.
Dude, I gotta go into a cul-de-sac real quick and just mention, hey, I reached that magical age this month. June, I turned 65.
No
Eh,
shit.
Yeah, and so
Welcome, medical.
well, what's
Yes,
interesting is that, see, I've got to have operations on both my shoulders. I've had four
right,
operations on my shoulders that haven't worked, and the only thing that's left to do, what they do is it's a ball and socket. So this ligament that helps your arm go up and down, they put a ball down here next to your shoulder, and it's a
right.
lever that goes out and they attach it. So it's like it swings like this. And
Really?
my stepmother, my dad's widow, she had both her shoulders replaced, and she said, you know what? The recovery time was that it doesn't hurt. I mean, I can't lift a house anymore, but I don't have any discomfort when I move and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Zero cost to me
So,
with what I've got with
so you already had to apply, right?
everything was done for me. I've been on disability for about 7 years. And so about 2 months ago, they said, hey, just to let you know, on June 1st, since you turned 65 on the 27th, June 1st, Schedule B will automatically go in. They charge you $202 automatically. And I've got friends, Sue and I have friends that said, hey, there's a Medicare Advantage program. Call this. There's like $85 to get involved in this network. And I talked to this guy for like an hour and a half, and he went over all the options. And so my insurance basically started today on the 1st of June. And so it blew me away. It's like full dental, full medical, full vision, zero deductibles. My dad's widow had both shoulders and a knee replaced, zero cost out of pocket. Zero cost. I mean, so there's a lot of things. I mean, it's like they talking crap about, the government, but at my age, it's like it's nice to have one less thing. And I told Sue, I said, you're not going to save 1,000 because we spend like $2,000 a month on insurance. And $2,000 a month for the both of us. So it's like, look, there's $1,000 back in your pocket right there because it's 200 coming off me. And as soon as in 3 months when you turn 65, you can still work for your company, but you can go on the same insurance I'm on, and you'll save $2,000 a month. Well, actually, it'll save her 1,800 because you'll have to pay 200 out of pocket for the whole thing. But I mean, they even have a list. It's called Silver Sneakers. Hey, find a gym you want, we'll pay for that too. So it's a lot of things that I was very happy to see.
Yeah, no, they definitely look at things differently. They want you to be healthy.
And all that preventive stuff that I told them, like, I had some cancer removed from my head, and it's gone
Yeah,
completely. And they said, we want to do a full body scan. And I said, let's wait until I turn 65 because preventive medicine is the way to fly when you're old. They'll do everything they can to prevent it. So we'll take all
exactly.
the scans
Right,
you want to do. And so all the
right.
testing I want to do will be for free now. So it's like, yeah, I'll wait.
No.
So, yeah, it's just
Well,
like,
I mean, you know what? It's like one of the few things they do that makes total sense.
yeah, it does. And everybody I've talked to that has my plan, it's a Advantage Plus plan, is just they're ecstatic about it. And it's like, and that's one thing that always concerns people. Oh, what am I going to do about my medical bills when I get older? Well, we've been paid into that system all our life. I mean, people complain about what like Social Security and that kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to be around long enough to worry about that. I just want to be comfortable in my old age. That's all. Take away some pain. It's like so.
Right,
They've legalized pot, so I'm happy with that. A lot of the body pain doesn't exist because I'm able to smoke that legally now. So
right.
that's it. But
Game changer.
hey, do they
And
have that
they finally removed it from the list of, schedule,
one?
not being a schedule one,
Yeah.
which was like huge. It's like, well, why did that take 50 fucking years? But
I tell you what, man. It's like it's funny. I did a survey one time, and it was a medical survey where you smoke pot, but you don't smoke cigarettes, and they wanted to find out different effects. So yeah, I mean, I got paid for the whole thing. I spent time down at UCLA Medical Center doing all this stuff, and the weed they had was the worst weed I've ever smoked in my life. It tasted like something I found in the drawer of my childhood days. It was that old.
was it like shitty homegrown from
Yeah, it
high
was.
school?
It was probably some guy they arrested back in the '60s who now works for the government growing pot for him, and it's still that crappy, dank, nasty, you know, that Mexican
Really?
brown weed. It was terrible. So it's like,
now, wouldn't you think it'd be the complete opposite when you'd be like, oh, hey, I'm going to, UCLA, or I'm going somewhere, I'm doing this study program. Wouldn't you think they'd have the creme de la creme?
well, I wasn't completely honest about things because the first time they did that, they told me that it's like, so well, you're gonna have to stay over. And I said, now, will I be able to get some weed to go to sleep? No, we can give you some narcotics. I'm like, I don't take narcotics, so I just brought some edibles from home. So I was at the Ronald Reagan Hospital, and I said, what do you want for dinner? I'd like this. I'd like and 2 scoops of ice cream, please. And they said, okay. So I had 2 chocolate brownies pot brownies, and I just put the ice cream on there and ate my pot because slept really soundly. So I never told them about that or the good weed that I'd bought. There's a shop downstairs, and on Weed Maps, I go downstairs and get really actually good pot for the money you're paying me to do that.
Right.
They didn't want to, but I did it anyway. So anyhow, all righty. Well, my friend,
my pot brownie.
it's
That's great.
well, is it that time, my friend?
It is, my pal, and we will chat it up again very soon.
Well, my friend, it's always nice spending time with you, Tony. I'm sorry it was 2 weeks, but I had some responsibilities to take care of last week. It won't be so long next time. Come on, Tigers, get out of the basement. Tired of looking at the basement. Hey, wait a minute. The Braves are the reflection of that right now, aren't we? Holy smokes. Nice to win 40 games. You guys have yourself.
Detroit just can't.
Yeah, we'll see what happens after the break. That's usually what makes it.
I know what happens after the break. We're closer to the Lions, right?
Well, thank you for spending time with us. Go Detroit Lions. We're closer to Lions country. Be putting up the new banner back behind me too. But right now, I'm enjoying my time with the Braves. So everybody have a wonderful day. Tony from Lake Havasu, have a wonderful evening, my friend.
We'll see you, buddy. Be safe.
Bye-bye.